sit there and let you do that, but or watch me do that. But I'm gonna do that and then I'll come back, okay? Okay guys, so I think I kind of misspoke there a little bit. So once you've started stirring all that flour into the water or into the mixture, the wet stuff, okay? Get it so it's a soft dough has started to form, and then you put the dough out onto the counter, okay? Onto some floured counter. Don't forget to put lots of flour on there because otherwise it'll be really sticky. I have a little scraping tool here that's kind of helpful, and I find that if it gets too sticky, you kind of scrape it off. So you kind of knead the dough on that counter, as I'm doing right now, until this dough is forming. So it's starting to bounce back at me. I think you can see the dough here. So at this point, I'm gonna put this into that bowl I was talking about, and it's oiled up inside. It's a little bit greasy on the inside. So I'm gonna put that there. And I'm also gonna make sure that I put a little bit of oil on top of this dough, and then I'm gonna cover it up with a tea towel. So I have a tea towel over here, and I'm gonna cover this up and go for about 30 minutes. So I'm gonna put a little bit of oil on here so it doesn't stick, and I'm gonna cover it up and I'll come back in 30, okay? Okay guys, how are you doing? So it's been about 30 minutes since we put the dough in the bowl with the tea towel on it, and you can probably tell now that the bowl is looking like it's a lot smaller, isn't it? Because the dough has risen a lot underneath that tea towel in that time. So the yeast is doing its thing, which is good. Now, what we need to do now is we're gonna put this dough out onto the counter again, and we're gonna cut it into about, well, I've doubled it. If you're doing a regular batch, it's about 16 pieces you're gonna cut it into. If you're doing just a single batch, I've doubled it. So if you can do your math, right? 16 plus 16 is what? 32, right? So around that. Last time I didn't cut perfectly equal sizes, so that's okay. It just means the bagels are gonna be a little bit different, okay? So that's okay. I'm gonna turn this out onto the surface. I'm gonna cut it into some pieces, and then I'm gonna show you how to make them into the bagel shape. That's the fun part, okay? Okay, so this is where the fun starts. So I just used a knife and I cut up the dough. I didn't do all 32 pieces because I didn't want to take so long, but I've got about 16 here, which would be what you'd expect to have if you just did one batch, okay? So I've got these little blobs of dough. Now it says we're just going to roll it into a rope, right? So roll it into, I don't know, I'm just rolling it out a little bit on the counter. I'm kind of pulling it as I go because it's quite stretchy. And I've got a rope about this big, okay, about the same thickness at each end. And I'm gonna roll it around my 4 fingers like this, okay? And then how do you get these ends to stick? You just kind of do a little rolly roll like this, okay? So now I've got this, what looks to be a circular bagel shape. It's not perfect, can you see? Okay, so I'm gonna set that down. Now, as you're sitting these down on the counter, you wanna keep them covered while you work. So the yeast is still gonna be active, okay? So roll them into your little ropes as best you can. I'm not very good at this part. So roll them into the ropes, kind of roll it around your fingers, your 4 fingers like this. So roll it around, and to get these ends to stick together nicely, just kind of give it another roll or 2. And then you've got it like this, okay? And set it down on the counter. So as you're letting those little bagels, little beauties sit, you should be covering those up with a tea towel. And again, don't put any more flour on the dough. It should be sort of soft and silky, but don't put any more flour on the dough unless you're finding that it's really sticking to your counter, okay? So again, just kind of give it a little roll. Oh, look at these little beauties. Now, they don't have to be perfect, guys, because when you boil them, okay? When you boil them, they're gonna be nice and delicious, okay? But you do want a hole in the center. This one looks a bit bigger than the other ones, so that's all right. I'll give that to someone special, okay? Yeah, this is definitely gonna be longer, I can tell right away, but that's okay. So we're gonna roll it around our fingers, and we're gonna get to that part. So I'm just gonna pause, and the next step is gonna be fun. Once you've got them all there, you're gonna sit them again with a tea towel on there for another, think about another 30 minutes, okay? Another 30 minutes of them sitting. Once you've got them in the bagel shape, you wanna put a tea towel on them and let them sit for 30 more minutes, okay? So we'll sit tight, and then the next step is we're gonna put them in the boiling water with the honey, and then we're gonna bake them, and they're gonna look amazing, okay? Can't wait. Okay guys, this is where the magic happens. So it's been about 30 minutes since we covered our formed bagels on a floured surface, and we have just let them rest. And I don't know if you can see them here. Ooh la la, hello sweet bebes. So here we are. They have certainly puffed up a little bit. Some of them I can't really even see a hole anymore too well. Others I can. They don't look exactly the same shape. So here's where we've got a pot of water on the stove. Okay, so we've got our water boiling on the stove, and I'm gonna add the honey. Now again, I doubled the batch, so we're adding the honey to the boiling water. Okay, I'm just gonna make sure I get that in there, and I'm gonna make sure it comes to a full boil. Okay, so we're gonna get that in there. Oops, every little bit. This, apparently the honey, when you put it in, gives the bagel that, well, the sweetness for sure, but also it gives it the nice golden color. And I'll try and move you over in a minute so that you can see the water, to see the color of it. But I think I got most of that honey out. Okay, so I'm gonna put that over here. Okay, so I'm gonna, in a minute or two, I'm gonna get this up to a full boil. Again, it's a nice golden color, and then it helps while we're getting that ready. If you have one of these spoons, it's called a slotted spoon, and it's got little holes in it so that when we go to scoop the bagels out of the hot water in a little bit, to rest them on the cooling tray, it lets the water go through, right? That it doesn't bring all the water out when you scoop them out. So I'm bringing this up to a boil. And again, that little scraping tool might come in handy right now, because some of these, although it's a floured surface, sometimes it gets a bit stuck on the counter. I found the last time when I tried this, it was my first time, of course, there are all these little things I didn't really even consider until I got into the process. So it's good that you've got one of these little scrapers. I think they're pretty well floured. Okay, so I'm just gonna bring this up to a boil, and I'll be right back, and then we'll put them in. This is where it gets good. Okay, boys and girls, so the water is boiling. You can see the color there, and I'm just going to zoom you over, and here are little bebes all ready to go in. So I'm going to scoop these out, try and pick them off the counter really carefully, and then we're going to set them in the water. Okay, so let me get this back so you can kind of see it. I'm sorry, it's not the best. Okay, so we've got the water boiling over here. You saw the color. We've got the little bagels here. This one seems, oh, I've done a much better job flouring the surface. So I've got a bagel here. Be careful, you might want to use a little spoon to put it in, but just carefully, we're gonna put them on the top. They're gonna float. Okay, I'll show you that in a minute. We're gonna put them in, I think it says 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes each side. So just kind of pop it in, and it'll bounce back up and it'll start to float. Look at this little precious little, ooh. Okay, so I'm gonna put maybe 4, I think will fit into this. Ooh, this one's sticking a bit. Okay, some of them look better than others, okay? So they're nice and puffy again. So I'm gonna bring you back over here. Hold on one sec. Okay, so there they are boiling away, okay? Don't they look good? So they're floating on the surface. I could probably fit another one in there, but we're gonna boil them for about 1.5 to 2 minutes per side. And then we're going to take them out with that spoon I showed you. With this spoon, we're gonna carefully scoop them out. You can flip them with this spoon too. In about 1.5 to 2 minutes. They're kind of puffing up a little bit. The texture of the dough is looking a little bit different now that it's in here, but they look delicious. I wish you could kind of smell it too, because I can start to smelling good. So 1.5 or 2 minutes boiling. We're gonna flip the side, and then next time I see you in a minute or two, we're going to scoop them out and put the seeds on before we bake them. We're getting to the good part, okay. Okay guys, so I'm pretty much ready to scoop the first ones out. And again, I'm gonna use my slotted spoon. I just wanna show you, I've got some cooling racks here, these little cooling racks. And I found last time, we're about to put the seeds on. So I have, just to sort of prevent me from making such a mess, I've just set them inside a cookie tray so that when I sprinkle the seeds that don't stick to the bagels are actually gonna end up in the pan and not all over my counter, okay? So I'm gonna use my spoon. Okay, just sort of drain it off. I wish you could smell the water right now. So here's what you can see the steam coming off. I'm just gonna set it onto here. They look a bit wonky, some of them, that's okay. You can kind of see the color of the honey water on some of these bagels. Oh, there's my timer going off. Okay, so we're gonna take this out. Okay. And I've got one more in here. I wish you could smell this. It's starting to smell good. Okay. So I'm just gonna leave that water for a minute or two. So I wish I could show you this a little bit. So there they are. They're ready just out of the boiling water. Okay. Oops, this one's sliding off. So this is where we get the seeds. Okay. So in an effort to speed this up. So they're out of the water. We've boiled them. I love poppy seeds. I also love sesame seeds. So I'm going to do a bunch. I'm just going to do a few here. Oh, and while I'm going, I'll just set these in the water. Might as well, eh? Okay, I'm going to set these in. While we're... Ooh, this one... I wish you could see this one. Oops. Oh, well. Okay. Throw it in there anyway. Who cares? They're going to taste the same. This one looks wee compared to the other ones. Okay. So, got some more boiling in there. Okay. So I'm going to just take my sesame seeds. I put them in a little container from the bulk barn so that, and I'm just going to go crazy with them. Okay. I wish you could see a little better. But go crazy with the seeds. Put lots and lots and lots. Okay. Go crazy, crazy, crazy. The more, the better, I say. Now, last week, or last time I did them, a week or two ago, whenever that was, I realized, oh, when I sprinkled this way, I didn't get any seeds on the bottom. But that's all right. I like seeds on the bottom too, but I sort of flipped them, but then some seeds fell off. So, I don't know. Just kind of shoot them on the sides. We're winging it a bit, right? Okay. The next ones I'll put some sesame seeds on. So I'll bring you over here so you can see. Okay, don't they look good? They're already starting to look more like bagels now, aren't they? And the other ones are floating in the water here. Oops. Okay, so what I think I'm going to do right now, I'm going to fire these in the oven. Okay, so I'm going to maybe do one more, and then I'm going to put some in the oven, do a batch for you, and the next time you see me, we'll have our first batch of bagels. Okay? Can't wait. Okay guys, the time has come. So while I was gone, or while you were gone, I put our bagels, I put some poppy seed and some sesame. I've got a couple sesame on the end. So I finished boiling, I scooped them out, I continued to sprinkle the seeds. I did actually, as I picked them up to put them on the pan, I sprinkled a few on the bottom, so that's great. And now I'm going to put them in the oven, and the oven has been preheated at 450, I think it was. So we're going to put them in for about 18 to 20 minutes, or 15 to 20. I think check them at about 18, well, check them, right? Take a look. My oven's nice and hot, so because I've had that on for a few minutes, so we're going to throw them in. I'm going to set it for 15 or 16 minutes. Take a look. If they're nice and toasty on the outside, they're probably ready to come out. Depends how hot your oven is. Can't wait. I wish you could smell the water. It's so nice and sweet. Okay. Okay, guys. Oh my goodness, I wish you could smell my kitchen right now. It rarely smells like this, trust me. So I've just taken the little beauties out of the oven, and I know you can't really see them too clearly, but I'm gonna try and show you one. Don't they look good? Oh my gosh, I wish you could smell right now. So again, I had them in there for about maybe 16, 17 minutes. It might need another minute or two longer. I was just concerned because some of them were getting a bit toasty on the top, but I might put them in for another minute or two, but man, do they smell good. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I know it's a little long and there's a lot going on. There are a few steps, but a lot of it is just the sitting time. So if you can sit tight, be patient, trust me when I tell you, it is going to be good. So I don't know, Mother's Day is tomorrow, and you may not have a chance to see this before then, but I do hope that you're having a great weekend, and I look forward to seeing you when we have a chance to get back together. Take care, everybody. Have fun.